Angels and Archangels Week is coming up. 3 of the organisers are here: Ben Carver, Eleni Anats and Nicholas Frangi. To you first, Eleni, what is Angels and Archangels Week?
Angels and Archangels Week is an angelic celebration that takes place yearly in 2024. It will be from 27th of October to the 3rd of November. The main intention is to deepen our connection with angels, archangels, and other angelic beings of light. And we do this through various ways, through meditation, through different angelic techniques, through performances. It is organized by Tara in London. This year will be in person. And also it is open for everyone. Everyone who would like to know and connect about angels, whether it's somebody who just is just curious, he or she is just curious, or somebody who would like to deepen this connection, because there's always room for improvement of this relationship.
Nikos, what is the history of Angels and Archangels Week? How did it all begin?
So it started quite a few years ago. In the UK, we were celebrating for 17 years. This will be the 17th annual celebration. But it started even before that by a yoga teacher in Sweden, because this actually is an international event. We are celebrating here, but also it takes place in many other countries simultaneously. And they had the idea of starting this celebration, especially during this period of time where it is said that the layer between the physical world, the world we live in, and the world that the angels live in, the astral dimension, is thinner. So this communication is easier. So they started a few years back. We've been celebrating for 17 years. This will be the 17th annual celebration. We have some activities which are common. The main activities are meditations and the angelic method, one angelic technique which is performed by all the different groups around the world. And this program is then enriched locally by other activities.
So Ben, why is it at Tara? What's the connection with the angels?
Well, Tara teaches a broad spectrum of what you could call spirituality, authentic teachings, and the angels really fit into that, because you think about the meaning of yoga is to bring union between all the different aspects that make us up as human beings and make up our lives. Everything's about relationship, and so angels are beings that actually help us to manage all these different relationships and all the different levels in our life. They organize the harmony of the entire creation. So everything which brings harmony, you can relate to angels and get angelic help in this direction. Angels, we have to say though, they don't just belong to one tradition. You know, we all, probably most of us, know of them from the Christian tradition, the Judaic tradition, even the Muslim tradition. But these beings are universal beings. They exist, they have their own objective reality, and they're described in many different traditions. So in the Indian tradition, all over the world, they are related to, you know, you've maybe heard of dakinis and other often feminine spirits, but these are very often different ways of describing the angels.
So what might I get by coming to Angels and Archangels Week? What would I benefit?
Part of the daily activity is that we have presentations of the specific angels and archangels that we're being introduced to and getting to meet each day throughout the week. And these are very detailed. There's a lot of information, so you can understand what these different angels and archangels mean to us and help your relationship with them. But then we do these very wonderful and actually unique exemplification meditations where you're helped to realistically connect, to feel a union with these different types of angels through the meditation, which is supported very beautifully by appropriate music as well.
What exactly is an exemplification?
It's where the state, if you like, that we're aiming to create is transmitted to everyone involved in the meditation. And you'll see that when we meditate in a group like that, the power of the meditation is multiplied manyfold. It's not just the sum of the parts. There's a kind of a symphony of experience that builds up in the room, because everyone brings different nuances of experience, and when those all come together, it's a very meaningful, beautiful way of learning to deepen our relationship with these beings.
So it could be quite a life-changing experience.
Absolutely.
Yes, because in this way, when you are participating in these meditations, you can discover certain affinities you may have with some or one or more of these angelic beings or the state that they live in, and then that can be a moment of exploration for you, because you discover that, you realize it's there, and then from then on you can cultivate this. You can cultivate this relationship, if you want, with the angelic beings, with an archangel, or with a state that you are experiencing there, and that can help you actually generally in your own spiritual evolution. It can be a starting point, or you may have had already an experience, and then you, in that, let's say, fertile soil of this group meditation, these group activities that Ben mentioned, then you are empowering that relationship, you are reinforcing that.
There are various ways, actually, during the Angels and Archangels week that you feel this connection. There is a very strong impulse that help the ones, especially who come with an open heart, to feel much closer to the angels, or easier. That maybe they never had this experience before, and because we took part, all of us, in the previous years, ourselves included, and we heard from many participants how easier it is for them to feel or experience the connection with the angels, archangels. Also, there are going to be some very beautiful techniques that you somehow take with you, and you can continue to practice afterwards. And there is going to be a very practical technique that we will practice every day, that whoever wants, they can really continue doing it afterwards. And also, it might be also in another perspective. Maybe we notice that many people may come and they may feel alone, or feeling not having very positive feelings. And then after the meetings, they share, they feel warmth, or they feel connected, they feel at home, they feel joyous, they feel centered, and they feel inspired, they feel calmer, or even they feel inspired to offer more, to be more kind, to be like an angel. So it's up to us what we can get. I think how we approach the week is, the more open we are, the more maybe we can get from it.
Would people expect to find their guardian angel, Angels and Archangels week?
It is a very important relationship with the guardian angel. It is one of the most fundamental ones. I feel many times really touched whenever I feel this mystery of God's creation. Each of us has a guardian angel, and each of us having a guardian angel, we have this guidance and the support and the presence of a being that is constantly with us, that can help us to know and reveal and remember who we are and connect back to God, and also to connect with any other angel or archangel. So the connection, the guardian angel, is a fundamental one. And yes, we'll do also a meditation of communion with the guardian angel. And some of the techniques we're going to do, we're going to invoke the presence of the guardian angel, so to start this cultivation.
So, Ben, what role can angels play in our lives? Say that we've been on Angels and Archangels week and we've discovered our guardian angel and we're very fired up and have all these techniques. How can that then be integrated into daily life?
Well, you'll find that if we listen a bit more carefully, all kinds of beautiful inspirations come through. And often these inspirations come anyway, but if we develop this relationship with the angel, we'll find that we'll start to actually maybe realize the source of these inspirations, because often it is our guardian angel or other angelic beings helping us. And this is a fundamental key to working with angels, that because of the divine law, they can't interfere with our free will, but they are always offering help. So this idea of inspirations whispered in our ear, if we're attentive enough to listen, is a very wonderful way of connecting with the angels. They can help us in our relationships. So if we're having a difficult issue with someone, we can ask our guardian angel to speak with their guardian angel. My people talk with your people. And you'll often find that almost miraculous issues get surpassed in ways you wouldn't imagine possible very often. And we can also awaken amazing qualities in ourselves. States or feelings, they can start to form like a frame of reference for us to understand our own feelings and emotions and perceptions of the world much more clearly. It gives us a context for everything that we're feeling.
So, Nikos, can angels help us to know ourselves better and to help us get over resistance to asking for help and support?
Yes, they can. And it's one of the fundamental ways of connecting actually with the angels is to ask. And when we are, as Ben was saying, when we are open to that, to their messages, then we can find that guidance, the support, the help that we may need. Also, although this openness to listen to the messages requires a certain level of awareness to become aware of that is a message coming for me, they also help us in cultivating to amplify this awareness even more, and then gain a much greater clarity, or an opportunity for us to start manifesting more gratitude, which is again one of the maybe beautiful practices that many people in different spiritual traditions actually do, so they can help us also in this direction.
And also, Eleni, would that mean reaching our full potential?
What I would like to share is from my personal life. When I start cultivating this relationship, I felt the impact of asking, as Nikos mentioned before. And the impact becomes even more if we consciously and continuously do this. So daily, to ask for protection, or to ask for healing, or to ask to improve our relationship, as Ben mentioned. And naturally, the guardian angel or other angels and archangels can help us to reach our full potential, because each of them, they have certain godly qualities in them, and by connecting more and more with them, we start opening more to this. We start becoming more of that. And an example is, for example, when we may have negative emotions. And then we come to the Angels Week and we hear that, if you have negative emotions, ask the presence of the archangels to be with you, and that will help you to transform these emotions, and from maybe jealousy to start feeling love, from fear to feel courage. There is this kind of almost alchemy of emotions that take place in the presence of these beings of light. And then practicing it and see that really does work, then the only thing is to remember to do this. But it's not only for the bad moments, it is also for the wonderful moments. Whenever we do something beneficial, whenever we do something which is in line with the godly harmony, to invite the angels with us, and suddenly we really feel stronger, and we feel that things work more smoothly, and we see that we are not us anymore there. Definitely is something more than us there. So yes, the presence of the angels is something that really can help us to reach our full potential more and more.
When we think of angels, very often images from the past or from holy books come up. So what's the relevance of angels these days?
Angels are relevant for any day, any era, I would say. It is if we are on a spiritual quest, like the spiritual quest can be they are eternal, they are beyond time. And in the same way, angels are relevant for the same reason, because they can help in this, help us in this spiritual quest. They are they can be regarded as these protectors, inspirers, guides in our spiritual quest. So if we have a spiritual quest, if we want to be on a spiritual journey, then definitely any assistance we can get, then is very welcome. And angels are very much about this assistance.
So particularly in the time that we've just passed through, when everyone's been forced to experience a state of separation and isolation, you can think of the angels as being like an antidote for this, like a balm for the heart, which really needs and longs for feeling connection. But whether you think about the last couple of years or this age of the earth, in the East they talk about Kali Yuga and this age of degradation and low spirituality, and people being very reinforced in their individual idea of themselves, that when we're individuals, we're not connected, we don't think about everyone else and our connection with everything. So the angels, they will help with reuniting, they will help with connecting, they will heal the heart. And in this way, when the heart starts to feel that connection again and feel the sense of home and safety and love again, that's when we can start to really know ourselves better. So this is how the angels help.
This isolation is very much a part of modern life these days.
And the beauty of connecting with your guardian angel or angels help you not to feel alone, because we are not. And angels exist, whether we acknowledge their presence or not. This period of time, most of us, maybe we don't have a connection with them. But it used to be an era where angels and humans used to speak to each other naturally, like we speak to each other now, see each other. And it is time to go back to that. The only way to do this is when, and if we want, of course, to start, even if we're just curious, to say, okay, maybe they do exist, even if I don't feel anything at the moment. Let's cultivate this relationship. Let's see what we can do. Let's call them. Let's meditate. If we start cultivating this relationship more consciously, then there is relevance, because our life will become better and we're going to reach more our full potential. We can understand more ourselves, others. So yes, there is relevance.
So you're saying just jump in.
If you feel curious, yes, just jump in and ask your guardian angel, I don't see you, I don't feel you, I don't know, but can you please help me to connect more with you? And if this is not the approach for now, maybe join the Angels and Archangels week and start meditating with the others, feel what the others feel, or take part in different activities, because there are going to be different approaches. And it might be one way that is the best way for you.
So how do we connect with angels? What are the different ways, Ben?
The first way of connecting with the angels is to just be in the heart, be present, be open, be curious. And I think it really means having an optimistic attitude, because I don't know if you ever heard about that famous logic problem where they were trying to decide whether it made sense logically to believe in God or not. And it was basically a win-win situation. You've got everything to lose if you don't, but everything to gain if you do. And it's very much the same with angels. So if you have this optimistic attitude and just try, you'll be amazed if you do that with openness and open your childlike eyes with a sense of wonder, innocence, and purity, you'll be amazed at the kind of responses that you get. It will start to reveal all kinds of levels of mystery to you, help you to see much deeper into yourself and into the understanding of life around you as well.
What Ben said about being the heart, it is one of the biggest ways of that can help us to and assist us to connect to the angels, because in the mind lives in separation, differentiation, and the heart has the wisdom that is beyond words. The mind is useful to make, of course, we don't discharge the mind, but more like mind in the heart. And also, what can assist us to connect more with the angels is to want to have this relationship and cultivate this relationship, because it's like in any other relationship. If we want to have a relationship with someone in the human level, from human to human, we're going to spend some time with this person and we're going to connect and so on. It's the same thing with the angels. If we want to have a relationship, we need to start giving some time and to cultivate this relationship. It doesn't have to be sometimes extra time. It can be like we walk in the street and we can say to guardian angel, let's walk together. Or it might be that, I don't know, we're eating and we say to our guardian angel, let's eat together. Or please embrace me. So it can be very little, or just a little prayer. But to give a little bit of time to remember this connection, and that will help us and grow more. And also, and being in a group and working together as a group really assists even more to cultivate this relationship. Many people say when we are by ourselves, participants, maybe we don't feel the same as when we're in a group. It is true, but it is somehow like an impulse, like they show us a way, but then we can cultivate in our own time and we'll feel it at a point in the same strength.
And fundamental thing about all this to connect to the angels, as we said earlier, is to ask. Angels respect our free will. And unless it's a very, let's say, serious situation when we need the help, they will not interfere out of their own will to in our lives. So we need to be ready to ask for the help, the support, the guidance, which they will offer. Of course, again, if that help and if that guidance is according to the godly plan, according to the godly will. Because they are somehow the extension of the hands of God, they are manifesting the will of the Supreme Absolute Consciousness.
So, Eleni, is it important to feel an angel, or do we need to see an angel?
I love this question, Viv. I feel the most important thing is to start feeling our unique way of communicating with the angels. Our unique way of perceiving the angels, because for each of us it might be one or different ways. There are people who smell a special fragrance and they know a certain angel is next to them. There are people who hear, like for example, my father heard angelic singing inside the church. He entered the church, there was no one there. He heard. Sometimes the physical ear, sometimes it's not the physical ears. Some people feel touched, literally, embraced, warmth, tingly sensations. Some people dream the angels. Some people, the synchronicities actually is a very big aspect in connection with the angels. Some people connect through synchronicities. Angels speak through other people to us, or they speak through different symbols to us. And so it might be a combination of them, or even more. I just mentioned some of the ways. So it is more important than anything is to actually find what is our unique way to perceive them, and it might be not one I mentioned now, it might be a combination of them. And also, yes, some people do see angels, maybe with a physical eye or not, but this is not the most important aspect. The most important is to establish communication and start feeling this communication one way or the other.
And angels will speak to us in a language that we can understand. If, for instance, we are a very intellectual person, then the message will have that kind of intellectual nuance. If someone is very practical, they have a very practical, I don't know, they may be a software engineer, for instance, they are developing software, maybe they would speak to them or communicate in a way they can understand. So it depends on our affinities, how, what is the language we understand. Being open, of course, as Eleni said, to the synchronicity is important to make that first connection.
But how do we know these experiences are real? This is always the question. Are we just looking through rose-tinted glasses at what, otherwise just everyday events? Well, I suppose the only real way to know if it's fantasy or reality, because we can imagine all kinds of things, can't we? We're very creative in that way. It's really just to judge the tree by its fruits. So no matter what the experience is, afterwards, how do you feel? Do you feel uplifted? Do you feel elevated? Do you feel free from previous problems or emotions? Do you feel lighter? Do you feel better? Do you feel like you know yourself or you're closer to yourself afterwards? These are the kind of questions that you should really investigate the experience with, and that's how you will get to know that it is a genuine experience or not.
So how do you personally feel the presence of an angel?
So I come from a Christian background, and initially in my life I was more relating to saints and Jesus Christ and Virgin Mary, and not so much we're not giving so much emphasis in the connection with the angels. Nevertheless, I experienced the sense of protection in some moments in my life that were very dangerous or difficult. Something fell interfere last minute, and the things were not so, they didn't go so wrong. And there was later on in life when I joined Tara, and we studied in yoga for 6 months about angels. I started connecting more with them, and I realized that certain feelings I've got in the past was exactly the feeling, the presence of my guardian angel. And I felt this energy of gratitude at that time with this realization. They were there all the time, even if I didn't pay so much attention. And by that moment on, I feel the angel's presence in my life daily. But I would like to share with you one story among many, many, many that exist, which took place a long time ago. I prayed, I closed my eyes at a point, and I said, how can I improve my relationship with my guardian angel? What can I do? No one knew about it, isn't it? So I just prayed. Not that long afterwards, like maybe a couple of hours later, a girl, somebody I knew, came close to me and said to me, I have a gift for you. I said, yes, I love gifts. Thank you. And she gave me a crystal. And she said to me, this gift, this crystal, is to improve your relationship with your guardian angel. And I felt so touched by this because it was so direct. Like I asked, and the answer came to me in the form of somebody giving me a present. So this way and many others that I can even write a small book about them. So if you invite them in your life and they become a live presence, the more alive becomes, the more you see you'll be helped in many various ways.
And Nikos, what about you?
For me, it's been, I guess for many people, like a gradual approach. When we first started celebrating Angels Week, in the past it was called Angels Week, and there was always this kind of sense of magic in these celebrations. Actually, back then we would do only one main meditation of the connect with the world of angels, and it was characterized by this sense of magic. And then when participating in the angels, in the group of deepening the communion with angels and archangels, then that has been an opportunity for me to develop more, practice more with angels, and also performances. In performances, when, for instance, we do some performance for the opening day, and or the opening event of Angels and Archangels Week, we have been involved in performances, and we are embodying an archangel, for instance. And it's very clear to perceive an energy or a state which is not ordinarily yours, it's something else. And you feel that presence is very powerful, almost vibrating at the physical level. You're feeling very supported by that energy. Something is manifesting through you. And this is something which I have felt. And they also manifest in a very surprising way. For instance, many years ago, when for the first time we had a communion with Archangel Uriel, one of the archangels who will also celebrate this year. And we read the presentation of the meditation, then we did the meditation, and it was something which I had not known until then. It was something new for me, and it was something which felt his very powerful presence and support.
And you, Ben?
Well, I have to say my first experience with my angel was in a moment when I really wasn't expecting it, and it was really quite a life-changing moment. However, I'm going to be sharing that on the opening day of Angels and Archangels Week in the Touch by Angels event, so I'll keep that one under wraps for now. But often when I'm out in nature, whenever I see something beautiful, my first instinct is to thank my angel. And this is a way that I like to deepen my relationship. And, as you say, communication is key to all these things. But I do remember one particular occasion when it helped in a very sticky situation. I used to be a school teacher, and at the end of their school career, we took class 10 on a trip to Sweden. There was one lad who was very bright, quite a natural leader, and I'd always considered him quite a good friend. But there was a situation where a group of the lads started to be a bit rebellious, let's say, and were causing trouble. And he was a bit of a ringleader of this, and it wasn't really being resolved. And I went to bed that evening feeling quite desperate, thinking, am I actually going to have to send this kid home tomorrow? Because he's not responding to anything that any of us teachers were saying to him. And my last thing I did before going to bed was to pray, to ask my angel, please, can you talk with his angel and see if we can resolve this? And that was the last thing I did. I went to sleep. We went and got on the coach the next morning to go on a trip, and I went and sat down on the bus, still feeling a bit heavy with this whole situation. And lo and behold, this lad came and sat next to me and said, this might be the last time that we see each other, because it's the end of their school career, and I don't want it to end like this. So I just wanted to come and say I'm sorry, and I hope we can be good friends, into the future. And it always brought a tear to my eye, because it was the last thing. Honestly, it was the last thing I expected to happen. And as I said, sometimes asking it can bring about miraculous effects. And I even told him, what I'd done, and he kind of laughed and said, "Well, who knows?" But maybe that's sowed a seed in his life that will ripen later on as well.
Powerful experience. People do talk about angels being guides that can help us return to our spiritual home, if we know what a spiritual home is, or we might individually have different ways of defining it. And the angels remind us of who we really are. Nikos.
Yeah, I think it's what we were saying earlier about helping us in our spiritual quest and supporting us in in our spiritual practice. Whenever we are choosing a certain spiritual practice, it could be the spiritual practice can be the actual connection with the angel, the angelic beings, or any other spiritual practice. When we invite them to support us in that practice, exactly because they are this, as they are sometimes represented as the hands of God, the extended hands of God, and they are lending us a hand to connect with the Supreme Absolute Consciousness. We can invite them to support us in connecting to the Supreme Absolute Consciousness through them, even starting by connecting with the guardian angel, who is the closest angel to us, the closest friend, we can say, and then gradually, let's say, building up to going through higher angelic beings, we can call it that, to connect to the Supreme Absolute, or asking them to support us in any kind of spiritual practice. So yes, it is definitely the guide to our spiritual home. They are sometimes represented as I said earlier, as spiritual guides, and therefore they can guide us in our life if we're open to the synchronicities and see the signs where we should be going next, and open to the messages. Then we can follow those signs, the signposts, and go to find a way home.
Sometimes people say that the journey from the head to the heart is the longest journey you'll ever take, exactly for this quality that the mind has, which, it defines everything through separation, differentiation. It's the mind or the ego which gives us a sense of isolation, a sense of being separate from that which we really long for. And you mentioned about spiritual home. So the more we know ourselves, the more we center into our heart, into the present moment, knowing ourselves really here and now, the deeper we will feel that sense of home and belonging, and be in connection with who we truly are in our essential nature. And really, as you said, the angels are the beings which unite the creator with the creation, and with the creatures within that creation, as we are. They are also, by definition, they're the things, the beings, the energies which will help us to reunite everything which is diverse or dispersed within us. And any regardless of how you look at our spiritual growth or our personal development, it's generally about removing all the partitions that we build up within ourselves. The parts of us that get frozen or locked in certain experiences and traumas in our life. And so anything which helps to heal those separations is going to help to bring us home and to find our spiritual home.
There is something I read. It is written by Dorothy McLean, and it was a message that an angel gave to her back in 1976, if I remember correctly the date. And I don't remember exactly the message. It's really beautiful. Maybe we're going to share this message during the Angels and Archangels week in the actual words. But the summary of it was the angels calling to remember that we kind of forgot who truly we are. We don't remember who truly we are. We are very, we are powerful beings, and we don't really know who truly we are. And the angels were calling to allow them to be teachers, guides, and protectors until the moment we remember. Because then when we remember and we really shine the true light that we are, then we're going to be in a moment that we also can offer what we really came here to offer. And then there will be a different relationship between us and the angels, or any other beings actually. So angels help us, and it's like important to ask for their help to really reach that place of fully awakening the spiritual heart, or truly know who truly we are. And then our relationship with the angels will be very different. But this is, let's allow them at the moment. And actually, one of the techniques we'll do this year, it is to gradually awaken our spiritual heart. which is a true center, true beginning to spirituality. If we don't have awakened our spiritual heart, still we are very much with our ego, and so we're like a leaf in the wind. And there will be one technique practice every day, which is part of the highlights. So the highlights of the Angels and Archangels Week, I would say for sure, are all the meditation exemplifications. Going to be either whether somebody is physically with us, or if they can't be, to do it the same time wherever they are. It's an extremely important moment. Will be the world of angels, world of archangels, guardian angel, archangels Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, Raphael, Raziel, Zadkiel, Raguel, and states of candor, faith, godly truth, creativity, purity, and adoration towards God, in which the angel states that the angels live deeply and constantly. But also daily there will be this angelic method of gradually awakening our spiritual heart through purifying our body being with the help of the angels, and also with godly purity, godly forgiveness, and godly love. And this technique that we'll have, and we can practice afterwards to fully awaken our spiritual hearts.
Some of the other highlights on Saturday, the 5th of November, we'll have there will be an afternoon of healing event, and with the assistance of angels. So we'll have different methods from early afternoon, from 12:30. The whole journey, let's say, will last about 4 hours, from 12:30 to 4:30, and we'll have different methods. We'll have laughter yoga, we'll have technique of the inner smile, we'll have an angelic shower followed by a Reiki session, and then also a session of discovering the healing power of plants and how plants connect us to angel, the angelic realms. So although they are kind of, even in the program, they are kind of separate, we very much welcome and encourage everyone to join us from the very beginning, because in the beginning we set the intention of the afternoon, and they can savor all these aspects of healing through the help of the angels. And again, another healing session on the following day, in the 3:15 in the afternoon. It's a healing with the help of the angels for the planet. So we've done this technique many times. A very beautiful, very simple, very efficient way of working, co-creating with angels. We will invite our guardian angels, and with a series of visualizations, we will project, if you want, and an image of a planet full of health and well-being and prosperity and harmony for all the inhabitants.
We invite everyone for this, because this is really everyone who participates plays a very important role, because at the end there are some messages, which is part of the technique, that people share, which are extremely meaningful, that if you could ask anyone at the beginning, they would not say anything, but then at the end very clear messages are given of how to help healing the planet Earth.
And the week as a whole is opened and closed, is heralded, brought in very beautifully by the opening and closing, we could call ceremonies. So when people arrive at the start of the week, they'll be welcomed. We'll all do a moment of presence, or we could call consecration to start with. And then the beginning is somewhat ritualized as a way that, we're saying we need to be pure and open and free of all of our limiting thoughts and ideas, all these kind of things. So we go through this purification process to help us to connect with this more elevated realm of reality. And then we have a very beautiful, very charged opening performance. And then after this, we will have the event called Touched by Angels. And the idea here is that people are sharing when they've been touched by angels, or helping each other to feel touched by angels. So there will be performances, there'll be a lot of music and singing, because song and music is a very wonderful way of connecting with these angelic realms. But also people will be sharing their experiences in the form of testimonials. And then, and there'll also be recitation of certain texts or poems which help us to connect with angels as well. And then the closing of the week, we'll have another beautiful performance and sharing of all of our experiences, and also very importantly how we take these experiences onwards. What the way forward, how do you crystallize what you've experienced, what you've learned, and take it out into the real world, back into your lives and so on. And we will wrap up the week with a moment of gratitude, a wonderful feeling of gratitude for everything that we've received, because this is also very important. We it's very important we ask, but then also very important we say thank you, because we are polite beings after all. And if you want to find out more about the program, then please have a look on Tara's website where it is all listed.
And in the spirit of giving, how much does it cost?
Believe it or not, it's absolutely free. We've always believed that this event should always be free. It's in the spirit of the angels. They're offering themselves absolutely selflessly for us, and we do this in the same spirit. It's hosted by us, and we were all teachers at Tara, and we, as well as all the other teachers and staff at Tara, are volunteers. We're a registered charity, so we do everything for free, as it were. However, of course, there are costs, and each year these costs do mount as well. So we do have a collection box for donations, or we can also receive donations online on the website as well. And these, of course, be very gladly received.
Ben, Nikos, Eleni, thank you so much.